Hello, everyone. Welcome to Discussions with Dezzi. I'm your host, Dezzi, and I'm here with SGA President, Kristen Kilpatrick. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a quick intro. She's a political science student, like me at ASU. Whoop, whoop, grow the program. Like I mentioned before, she is SGA President at Angel State University, and she is also a member of Sigma Kappa. Would you like to elaborate on any of the roles that you do on campus?
Yeah, sure. So like Destiny said, I am Kristen Kilpatrick. I'm a junior this year. I major in political science, so I have a passion for all things that have to do with that. I want to go to law school, but right now I'm serving as the president of the 92nd Session in Student Government Association. So I just advocate for the student body to the administration on all things that has to do with student life. So whether that's academics, recreation, anything on campus, just stuff like that that students may have issue with, or things that could stand for improvement. I am the person that bridges that gap between the people that work for the university and the student body. So that's my main role. And then I am also in Sigma Kappa, so one heart, one way. Yay.
So if you have any questions, you have any concerns, y'all know, I'll say something. But if you need to get in contact, get her email information. She is on campus. If you want to make a change, you got to speak up, y'all. Y'all don't complain about it. Do something about it. That's what I have to say. But this segment, of course, political science majors, I wanted to kind of pick your brain on these very interesting subjects regarding this year. The biggest one, of course, we know is COVID. And as SGA president, what challenges were you presented in addressing COVID on campus?
So I think the biggest challenge in addressing COVID on campus has to do with students, because it is really difficult. In the spring, whenever we were notified that we were going to be moving online, that caused alarm for a lot of students because they aren't used to having a completely digital virtual schooling experience, especially with university, because the courses are hard, they're challenging, and we had labs that had to go online, and nursing had to completely go online, and it was just really difficult for them. So I think everyone was really excited whenever they announced that we were going to be in person again for the fall semester, or this whole year, I guess. But with that came a lot of challenges, and that is making sure that students are following the safety protocols, because we are back on campus. That gives us a lot of responsibility to follow the safety protocols really intensely so that we can protect the RAM fam, because the RAM fam, we always talk about it and it sounds kind of cheesy, but it definitely rings true. Everyone on campus cares about each other, and we want everyone to be healthy and safe. And we know a lot of people that have to deal with problems because of coronavirus that they wouldn't otherwise have to deal with, like immunocompromised students, or students that have parents that are immunocompromised, or they live with people, they're taking care of them, they lost their job, just really hard situations like that. We have to remember that that's why we are following the rules. And so the main rules are: we have to complete a wellness screening before entering any of the buildings on campus. We have to wear a mask at all times while on campus, and we are encouraging social distancing, especially on campus. So we can't control what people do outside of the campus, obviously, but we just really want to urge students to continue to follow all of those rules. So I think the biggest challenge has been just making sure that everything goes smoothly with those three main initiatives that we have for protecting students.
Protect each other, y'all. It's not always about us, got to think about other people. So just be conscious of that. And I just want to bring these numbers up. Like you said, these are what steps people have been taking. But with these cases, we have 76 active cases on campus. Of course, do you think that majority of that, like you mentioned, is coming from off of campus? And why do those cases persist?
Yes, so the numbers have been going up throughout the semester, which is kind of expected just because we're bringing in a larger amount of people from off campus and from different cities and everything. Everyone's back on campus, living in the residence halls. So that's expected. But I will say that I think our number is really low compared to other universities and other places in Texas, definitely. While we do have 76 active cases, I believe is what it is right now. It changes every day. It's not as bad as some universities, and I think that's just because of how committed our students are to following the rules, and our faculty and staff, because at other universities, they have like over 1,000 cases and everything, but we're at record enrollment at Angelo State University. So we have 10,700 and something students, and we only have 76 active cases. So I think the reason why cases are persisting in the city of San Angelo is just because it's kind of unavoidable at this point because of everything being open and people choosing not to wear masks and everything. So it's just people having to make personal decisions that will better protect them and protect their loved ones. So you really have to be diligent, but I think that that's why the cases are going up.
So take care of each other, y'all. Come on, do your part. But this is, of course, that we talked about the school. Let's go on kind of bigger on a county, Tom Green County. I've actually looked on their page, what they've done. And this is like back in June, July, we're going to have a mask in any retail area with 100 people or more. Do you still seeing people enforce the mask rule? Do you see people actually wearing their masks in the city of San Angelo?
Yes. So like I said, Angelo State University on campus, it's required that you wear a mask no matter what, like even if you're just sitting in your classroom. The only way you can take it off is if you're eating and drinking. But even in the university center, in the cafeteria where people eat and drink, we have the table spaced out to where it's just like one person is at the table. So you can take off your mask and you're still not putting anyone at risk. But other than that, you have to wear it at all times. So I know on campus, everyone is wearing their masks because it's required of them, and people are respecting that rule and not making it super difficult, which is good. But in the city of San Angelo, I think the majority of people are wearing their masks. I know the majority of businesses, I can't speak on every business because I have not been in every business, but most of the businesses that I frequent, they hard commit to the mask rule. So I've seen most people wearing masks. Of course, you have some people that are like anti-maskers and they don't want to be wearing it, but I don't encounter those people very often. And if I do, then I kind of keep my distance because I don't know where they've been. And I'm immunocompromised because I have an autoimmune disease and I just recently found out about it. So I have to be a little bit more careful than some other people. So if I see people that aren't wearing masks in public, I'm like, goodbye, stay away.
So, of course, you just said you found that out. What I'm hearing is that definitely changed your perspective on things because you are one of those people who may be infected by other people. What do you have to tell the people out there who aren't wearing a mask or taking precautions from someone who is experiencing this?
What I would say is just to reconsider your stance on it and not think of it as something that is limiting you and start thinking of it as something that is protecting other people. Because I got diagnosed with lupus in the middle of this pandemic. So I started getting like worse and worse symptoms, and it's just been really hard on me because I experience a lot of fatigue, and that's really hard. And then I just get out of breath really easily, and it's kind of respiratory for me in a way, and that can be really dangerous matched with COVID, obviously. And so it is really important to me that the people that I surround myself with understand that if they're feeling sick, they need to tell me and be upfront so that I don't go near them. And then the people I know that I'm friends with on and off campus, they wear their masks regularly and they do everything that they can to protect me because they love me, you know? And I think most people have someone like that in their lives, but I just think they are kind of dismissing the fact that this is a very real fear for a lot of people. And so my piece of advice would just be to, again, not think of it as something that is limiting your rights or anything like that, because that's not what it is. It's just to protect the people around you so that they can continue to be safe and healthy and continue to go to work. Because a lot of immunocompromised people, I think there's a misconception, especially with the beginning of the pandemic, at the beginning. I think a lot of people are like, if you're immunocompromised, just don't go out. And that's pretty ableist in my opinion, just because that isn't possible for a lot of people, because I have a job that I have to go to, and so it's impossible for me not to go out in public because I have to do my job so I earn money so I can pay rent, you know? I can't just take a year off or even longer off from working or going to school in person just because I'm immunocompromised. Like I still have to be able to be a functioning person in society. And I think the clear solution is just to wear a mask and be respectful. So
y'all heard it here. Just consider each other. Consider what people are going through. And so we've gone from the school, we've gone to discussing Tom Green County and on the state. This is actually, I just found this out yesterday. Governor Abbott issued an executive order to open bars, similar establishments up to 50% in conjunction with county officials. He's also increasing the occupancy levels of all business establishments other than bars to 75%. Do you agree that Texas should be opening at this moment?
That's a little bit complicated for me. And I think it should just go on the basis of the county that you're in, just because some counties have way low numbers compared to other ones. But I don't know, it's a really complicated issue. But I don't think that the bar should be opening personally, just because I don't think that it serves a good enough purpose to that we need them to be open. I understand that they are business owners as well and they need their businesses to be open, but the people that are going to bars are hopefully going to be required to wear masks. But if you're constantly at the bar drinking, then you're not going to be wearing a mask because you're consuming something, which makes sense, but it kind of sucks because you're opening yourself up to a different area with a lot of different people. So I don't know. I don't think that it's the best decision personally for Texas, but hopefully things go well and cases cease a little bit so that we see success and a little bit better. Hopefully we find a vaccine for it soon, but I hope this doesn't blow up in our faces.
Of course, if y'all need to know my sources, that was a source from the Office of the Texas Governor himself. Make sure I have my accurate information. But in accordance to COVID, it has actually also opened up a lot of people's eyes, I would say, to disparities. According to a study by the Journal of American Medicine Association, JAMA, that was a study of 12 states. It showed that Black, Latino, and American Indian and Alaskan Native people have been disproportionately hospitalized because of COVID. What does this say about the American health system at this moment?
I am not a medical expert, so I can't really speak on behalf of the medical expertise of this. But I will say, again, from personal experiences, like with lupus is a disease, and 9 out of 10 people that have it are women. And out of that, the majority of the women that have it are women of color. And it disproportionately affects women of color. And that's something that I thought was very interesting to learn about, because it's not something that they kind of teach you whenever you're in a biology class or even in high school and health classes and everything like that. So, and I know that there's systematic racism within the healthcare system because women of color, people of color, aren't believed as well as, white patients. And so that causes some disparity and a lot of problems. But with hospitalizations, we don't know a lot about COVID. So I'm maybe I'm sorry, my cat's trying to jump up here. I'm get away. Maybe that means COVID has different effects on people of color than it does other ethnicities and other races, So the healthcare system has a lot of improvement, and I know that there are people that are extremely passionate about that, especially in the presidential campaign. So I would just say do your research and vote for people that will take care of you.
And from a political perspective, do you think politicians will continue to address these concerns? For instance, let's say in Texas, the legislature that's coming up in January, legislative session, and even after the president is put into office?
Well, I know that there's no end in sight for coronavirus. There's not a vaccine. They're still trying to perfect everything. And of course, before a vaccine goes out to the American people to be put into place and it is approved by the FDA and everything, that will have to go through a lot of different types of testing. And so I know that the president's going to have to kind of oversee that and make sure that that's a priority. And I think both presidential candidates hopefully see this as a priority, because it is limiting the United States a lot. And other countries who dealt with the situation a lot differently than we did are almost completely back to normal because they have it under control. Not 100% back to normal, because obviously there's not a vaccine or else we would all have it, but at least to the point where they can resume education completely normally as they would, and bring back their businesses to make sure that they can continue to function properly. And I think both sides of the political debate prioritize the American people in different ways, but they do. And so they will prioritize the efforts in finding a vaccine and making sure that people are safe and healthy. But it really just comes down to taking it seriously. So I hope both sides do.
So I've known that when we're talking about COVID, this is what they could potentially do in the future. But as far as opening up, as far as declaring this a national emergency, do you think that the steps in retrospect were the correct or the right steps towards addressing COVID when it initially came?